and welcome to Love Island, the morning after, the only official Love Island podcast. My name is Amy Hart, and this week I'll be with my co-host, Indiyah Polack, and all week we have the wonderful Joe Baggs with us. Joe, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Right, guys, later on, we're going to be talking to the Casa boys, but first, let's talk about last night's episode.
It was a great one.
Yeah, it was a lot.
I feel like, obviously, because you were after Sun on Sunday,
Yes, I
we
was.
didn't have a podcast yesterday morning, so we didn't get to dissect the Love Island Film Festival.
Yeah.
A great night. So we'll try and pepper a bit of that in today.
Let's do it.
Now, obviously, Uma was very upset after the film
Bless
festival
her.
because Will told Lucy that she was his ideal type. I mean, she said, "You've made me look like such a fool." So Will eventually, halfway through the episode, eventually apologised. He said, I now feel stronger about you. But then he also said, I had the right to have my head turned.
I wasn't really a fan of the way Will decided to apologise to Uma. I feel like there wasn't any accountability taken, and I feel like he genuinely didn't understand why Uma was so upset.
I think it was to make his life easier, wasn't it? Like, he's obviously had the disagreement with her, and then woken up the next day and thought, I've got to do this to make this week easier.
Do you think he forced himself to apologise?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't seem like it was coming from the goodness of his heart.
Do you think if Lucy was still there, if he'd brought Lucy back and then Uma still wanted to get to know him, do you think he would have apologised?
No.
It's because he didn't have any other options.
We even saw around the mini fire pit, Jess was saying to Will, look, even Sean's gone to apologise. If you like Uma, you need to apologise.
But I just feel like you don't need to listen to your mates and the boys to, have an apology and make an apology.
Someone shouldn't tell you to apologise. It should come from the goodness of your
Goodness
heart.
of your heart.
And, I understand if he does have feelings for Uma. She's a gorgeous girl. It makes sense. But it was just a really tough watch.
It was hard to see her so...
Well, unfortunately, Uma did accept the apology.
She did.
She did.
Why?
And to seal the deal, she said, "Can I squeeze your back?" Now, I thought she meant squeeze the my boyfriend's got quite a muscly back, and I do like to give it a squeeze. Yeah. I thought she meant that. So when he rolled over and he said, "I think it's quite clear," I was like, "Oh no, I know where we're going with this." And she gave him a little spot squeezing session on his back. Have we ever done this? How do we feel about it?
Do I buy Joe's
I'm
face?
sorry. If I'm on TikTok and I see those spot popping vids, it's not interested instantly. I've got a really bad gag reflex.
Yeah.
So I'm straight away.
Some of them are quite intense, especially the ones that squirt out really quick.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
I do love an ingrown hair. My boyfriend shaves his chest and stuff.
Right.
I'm always on the hunt.
I like doing it to myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll come out the bathroom and be like, look how big this one was. And it's this big.
Oh
and
my
it's been
God.
on my thigh.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyone?
And I think when I get spots, I was like, "Oh, my skin's so bad." Okay. If you insist.
I'm indifferent. I don't mind it. Yeah. But also, I think it's type of spot. I prefer blackheads. I don't really like spots.
Oh
No,
my
yeah, I do
God.
like a
I'm so
blackhead.
queasy at the minute. I don't know what's going on.
I like a dart.
Yeah, a tight one. Yeah. I don't want the squirty ones. No, I just want a greasy little blackhead.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
Well, Uma.
Back to Uma. So she said that if he behaves himself, she will seal the deal and become a proper couple. Do we see that happening?
I'm not really sure. Because I feel like Uma does Will. It's very obvious. She has a lot of feelings for him. I feel like she wears her heart on her sleeve. And we did see it took Uma a very long time to open up. And
Did someone say she's a slow burner?
Yeah, get into it with Will. So I feel like she definitely wants to give it a good go.
Yeah.
However, if this does work out and they end up being boyfriend and girlfriend, I'm really concerned about the way Will goes about apologizing.
In terms of treating people's emotions and whatever, I'm worried that they will.
Because I feel like he does like Uma.
Yeah.
It's very clear. But the respect, I'm not really too sure about that.
No.
But Uma likes him enough to say, she wants to make it work.
And if you think before Casa, we were very I think Uma and Will might both bring someone back because she hadn't showed us, let alone him. I love how we are more important than him. She needs to show us first how much she likes him. So only when she went to Casa and sort of said, they're all nice, but they're just not my will. They're not my will. And I was I wasn't expecting that at all.
I agree. It did throw me when she was sleeping outside, but I think Casa gave her the opportunity to sit back, reflect and go, I actually have a really strong connection. Whereas he took it as the lad's holiday vibe. But in typical Love Island fashion, that is a recipe for the worst situation imaginable, which is obviously what we've seen. It just hasn't helped that the apology hasn't felt genuine.
It's normally us and other viewers saying, it's like a lad's holiday. It's like a lad's holiday.
Yeah.
It's like a lad's holiday. He literally was like, I can snog other girls because I am on a lad's holiday.
Yeah.
And you think
would you do that in real life?
Yeah. It was
That's the thing.
quite concerning.
Because if you can do that on a TV show that is filmed,
knowing that people are watching you.
then what is going to happen when you are in real life with no cameras. That would be my concern, but that's my Nicole coming out, you know?
Moving on, we did see there were some bombshells.
Yes.
Uma spoke to a few of them. They were on a nice day. We had Reuben, who especially took an interest in Uma. Do we feel like her head might turn? She said, you know what, I needed this to remind me who I am.
No, I don't think her head will turn. I think she'll enjoy making Will sweat a bit.
Yeah.
I think she'll enjoy the attention and she'll go back to Will and say, I'm not going to take any of your rubbish.
Yeah.
And then she will take it anyway.
But still like it. I would compare Reuben coming in and complimenting her to when a guy you used to fancy comments on your Insta, right? But you're in a relationship.
You're over him
it's
now.
like a nice ego boost to go, oh, I've still got it.
Yeah.
But you go home to your man.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going on.
You know what? I feel like now's the perfect opportunity for her to get her lick back. But also, she doesn't really need to stoop to Will's level. No. She doesn't need to be that unkind person.
She's with Mimii as friends as well. And I think Mimii kind of collects her in a really good way that's like rise above it. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's done well.
A heat wave has struck the island, and no, we are not talking about the Casa bombshells. It's time to debrief on the islanders' fire fits with headline sponsor eBay. Casa Amor equals surprises, and seeing Jess in the rat and boa dress was my type on paper. The legacy runs deep, with the stunning dress previously being worn by Arabella in All Stars, Ella in Series 10 and Sammy in Series 9. For glam movie and date nights to drinks with the girlies, gotta love the versatility. Kieran got lucky with Ellie, Lucy and Emma during raunchy races. Clearly it had everything to do with that sexy Jacquemus tea. Finally, feelings blossomed for Jess and Io when he whisked her away to the hideaway in his iconic Levi's jeans. Could they be boyfriend material? And that's a wrap on these red-hot pre-love looks. Discover more villa inspiration on eBay. Fashion fit for a second chance. eBay, sponsors of Love Island. Moving on, Shaa and Matilda, formerly sweet couple, bit sour at the moment. Will they go back to being sweet? Now, Shaa keeps holding on to this whole Hugo shut it down so you couldn't pursue it. I wasn't aware that Hugo did shut it down. And I'm really annoyed at Hugo. He's got no loyalty to anyone, right? He is pursuing with Jess. He basically had an easy ride because Jess and Trey obviously weren't really a couple. Trey's with someone else. Like, Hugo has got the easiest ride out of anyone. Jess only wants him. He could have said, no, I didn't shut it down. It was just open. But he wanted to show off in front of the boys.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, though, that whole situation got a little bit awkward because Matilda could see how uncomfortable Jess was with her speaking to Hugo. And I felt like Matilda thought, oh, do you know what? This isn't really worth it.
Yeah.
Like, we only had 2 chats. I don't actually want to be with him, so just have him.
Yeah.
I feel like if Jess wasn't so bothered and maybe Hugo was actually giving Matilda more of a shot, Matilda and Hugo could have been a thing.
Yeah.
So that whole kind of like, oh, you know, Hugo shut it down, that's why you didn't get a chance. No,
well, it's
surely, babe.
It's just pure deflection.
Yeah, it's deflection.
Just pure, you've got a problem with me, I'm going to find a problem with you out of the situation. But she wasn't going up to people and saying, you're my priority.
Yeah.
You're the one I want to bring back.
He'd been to the IO school of literalism with that when he was saying, no, she was my priority in Casa Amor between her and Ruby. You weren't
But that's
doing
not
it.
what
That
he
is
meant.
not what
I
he
know, but
meant.
what do you think a girl is going to take from that conversation? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what? Like, I feel like when you're in
Justice for
Casa
Diamante,
Amor,
always.
honestly, if someone's telling you like, oh, you're my priority, you're literally thinking, yep, main villa ticket, got it. I mean, Shaa did tell Matilda that he wants to get back on track, and she did say that she's going to make him wait, but she was like, I just don't trust you yet. They did seal it with a kiss. I mean, what do you think this means? Are they going to be strong again, or is the damage kind of done?
Again, there's not many options. I think Matilda's quite low down the list on the bombshells sites because I think they think that she's like closed off for Shaa. So again, we're getting towards the end. There's just been 2 boys. Obviously, we can't tell the future, although I pride myself on being a Love Island clairvoyant. We don't know, but that would suggest that maybe some girls will come in next. Right now, is Shaa the best of a bad bunch for Matilda?
I don't see him making it the whole way
You
through.
don't?
I don't.
Okay.
I feel like someone could turn her head. And I also feel like if she doesn't trust him now, I don't feel like the sexual chemistry is entirely there. And I do feel like it's very one-sided. If she was with Shaa for the nicey nice guy and the nicey nice guy does that to you, then realistically, what foundations are left?
Rocky ones.
And I feel like she will now maybe bide her time, try and trust him. But if someone comes in there and turns out, you don't even know after last night, you don't know whether she could look at Blade differently or Connor. Like you don't really know what's to come. But that's where I'm at.
I don't think that's a bad actual take. And I feel like I agree with the whole thing is where it's like, if you're going on Love Island and then you're going to be like, you know what? I'm be different. You go for the nice guy and then he starts acting bad. It's like, you know what? Sod this.
Do you know
I'm
what
going back to my type.
I also think the way that he grafted for her from the start.
Yeah.
And the level of disrespect from her side to experience, for you to graft that hard and then drop it like that, I'd be like, I'm obviously not what you said I was.
Yeah.
He said he's going to be a good boy for the foreseeable, but how long does foreseeable mean? He's going to be good for
Guys,
like a
if
day.
he gets off that plane at the airport and some 10 out of 10 goes up to him and goes, what sweet am I? What do you think that man is saying?
Busy Beach!
So that's the answer. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on now.
Yeah.
Casa Amor is notorious for its dramatic moments and shocking switches where islanders have to make tough decisions and do what's right for them. So we're counting down the best Sky Mobile Mimii moments, Casa Amor edition. This girl knows what she wants, and in third place, we have Jess speaking facts.
I know what my type is, and it's that.
Now, Jess may have mentioned that she is the prize, and I love how confident she is, and she always knows exactly what she wants, and she's gonna get it. Coming in at number 2, we have Sean, the sweet salesman, selling himself to Ruby.
I'm the mature man you need.
Yes, Sean, you are mature cheddar. And at number 1, Professor Jess S. manifests.
I believe in the law of attraction. What you put out, you will attract. What you manifest, you will attract. What you think, feel and speak, you will attract.
Understood.
And I think about Io.
I mean, if that's what she's been manifesting since week 1, she is a master manifester because he ran straight after her. Unlike Casa Amor, Sky Mobile offers hassle-free switching. Simply text to switch and embrace your me energy. So, the Casa boys were on After Sun on Sunday night, giving us an insight into their time in the villa, but we wanted to hear more from them, so it's only right that we got them on the podcast to have a little debrief about the Love Island Film Festival. Hello, Lionel, Moziah, Joel and Jake. Right, it's so good to have you all here with us today. Can you describe your experience in 3 words?
Absolutely. My experience in the Casa Amor villa was incredible. Loved it. Just would do it again in a heartbeat.
3 phrases. Thank you, Moziah. Lionel?
Wonderful, phenomenal, brilliant.
Amazing.
Nice.
Joel?
Exciting, unreal, and one of a kind, but that's 3 words, so.
We'll take it. Jake?
Yeah, incredible, exciting and funny.
Now, obviously, Love Island isn't just about love, it's about friendship as well. And obviously, Lionel and Moziah, you are on the same screen and you did not know each other before you walked into Casa Amor. So obviously, we've got the new Love Island bromance there. But all 4 of you, like, who will you stay in contact with? Who are your besties in there?
I think we're just really close-knit, just crack jokes, we make each other laugh. It's just very natural. It's amazing. I just feel like, when you're in there, you become close so fast. That just creates a really special bond. And I think all the guys that were in Casa, we just created this really incredible bond and we're all going to be staying in touch together throughout, our journey.
Sharing the experience together as well with no phones. And obviously a lot of the time you aren't filming and you're just chilling with the boys. You get really close really quickly. And I think, to be honest, all of us have quite a good bond now.
3 or 4 days can feel like 3 or 4 weeks in there. So yeah, it's nice. We've got a tight-knit group. Us 4 have already been out together, linked up quite a lot since you've come out. But yeah, that's cool.
Moziah, we have some questions. Obviously, we all saw that Grace rated your kiss 10 out of 10. Now, do you wish that they revealed this during the film festival?
I was surprised that they didn't reveal it. But, maybe that might come out in the future. But even from my end, it was a lot of passion in that kiss.
Yeah, I mean, we also saw in last night's episode that Grace is starting to explain that she's, not really got the chemistry for Blade. So if she does come out single, do you think you're going to hit her up?
Absolutely. So I'm reaching out to her team. I'm first in those DMs.
Just keep sending it every day in the hope that when she gets a phone back, you're the top one. Did she give you a reason why she went with Blade in the end?
Yeah, because we were actually quite surprised.
We were quite shocked when she brought Blade back.
Yeah.
What she did say during the recoupling was she had an initial attraction to Blade in the villa. And, Blade was the first one to talk to her first before I did. But I think during Casa Amor, me and Grace, we were slowly building this really deep connection together.
Joel and Jake, now new bombshell Reuben has said the difference between a boy and a man is the way you go about things. There's lots of boys in here. Do you agree?
I do agree. Obviously, they've come in, they've got a job to do. I think, to be fair to the 2 boys, they've come in at the perfect time, like we said earlier. It happens every year in Casa. There's always the Casa victims. And every year, it's always the same sort of story. They end up coming back from Casa and having to grovel and work and graft the birds. But these 2 boys coming in, obviously clearly knowing what they want. Yeah, the sort of man sort of compared to boy sort of thing. I think the difference is sort of trying to say is if you know what you want, that's what you want. So going on to the Will and Uma situation, if he wanted Uma, he would have just been like narrow-minded and just stuck with it. Essentially, sort of what sort of Kieran done.
But also from the side of Will, I'm not like defending him, but you are there to like get to know other people as well. And if he may have had a better connection with her, like I feel like it's in his right to have explored that anyway. And I don't think that means he's like a boy and not a man. I think that's just, I don't know. It's a tricky one.
Jake, you mentioned Kieran. Obviously, you've got a unique insight. You've spent a lot of time with Nicole. Do you think Kieran and Nicole are the real deal?
Yeah, obviously, I really got along with Nicole. She gave like, really good friendly vibes with me, and I sort of had her back in there. I did tell her she didn't have nothing to worry with Kieran. I do feel like Nicole, bless her, I think she's just stressing out a little bit when she's in Casa about what Kieran was doing. But obviously now she's come back and Kieran essentially didn't actually do anything wrong. I think she gave him a bit of a grilling and a bit of a hard time unnecessarily, if I'm being honest. And I'll tell Nicole that. Like I say, she's got loads going on in her mind. When you're in the villa as well, like, you can't see outside opinions. And of course, she's probably driving herself crazy. But Kieran's handled things very, very well. Considering he's the youngest bloke in there, very well.
Don't mention his age, Jake. He'll get very annoyed with you. He's 21.
He's 21 years old, but he's come across essentially like a real gentleman. And I think he's, Nicole's giving him a hard time. But, I think if they can sort of get through these nitty-gritty sort of arguments, because they are quite silly, and at the start of a relationship, especially when you're in the sun every day, on the holidays, they should be really, really not having much to argue about. I mean, like I say, Kieran's not done too much wrong, so I think she's probably grilling him a bit too hard. But yeah, I think if they can get through the nitty-gritty arguments, I reckon they'll be sweet.
I mean, this is a question for all of you guys. We're speaking about bonds and connections. Do we think that Shaa and Matilda are going to last? We obviously saw, the little bust-up happening between Diamante and Matilda around the fire pit. What are you boys' opinion?
I personally don't. Shaa seems like a really, really nice guy. Like, he seems sound as pound. But personally, I feel like Matilda needs someone who's probably a little bit more like assertive, a little bit more like straight and direct. Like, she's quite a loud character herself, and I feel like she needs someone to sort of match that energy and keep her intact. Essentially, it's why I went for her, really. Whereas I feel like she probably overpowers Shaa a little bit. I think on the outside, she'd probably walk all over him personally.
Yeah. Shaa and Matilda, other boys.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, after that, I don't think it's going to last for you, to be fair, especially the way Shaa really just behaved during Casa Amor. I feel like the damage has already been done, and the damage is quite significant as well. So Matilda's definitely hold on to that.
To be honest, I think as well, like obviously when you come out of Love Island, there's a lot of like public attention on you, and obviously seeing how Shaa's acted with just 2 girls and like beelining for him. I think when he comes out and he gets a lot of attention from the public, he's just head's just gonna swivel.
In Pantos, they used to throw sweets. He'll be in nightclubs on the DJ booth, chucking pick and mix out girls. Now, the bombshells, Reuben and Josh, which girls do we think will be attracted to them?
I think Mimii and Uma, and I'm really happy for Mimii.
Mimii will tunnel vision for Josh, because she's already said in last night's episode that is her type. Yeah. And I think Josh sort of recognises that as well. And I feel like there seems like there could be a vibe there. So I reckon them two will tunnel vision. In terms of Reuben, I'm not too sure, because obviously where he's had that chat in last night's episode with Emma and Grace, and they both said they're open, I think he might explore them 2 options as well, personally.
To be honest, I can see Grace be like them as well.
I agree.
I mean, we said it too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, boys, for joining us, and thank you for giving us so much entertainment during Casa Amor, and we wish you all the best.
Cheers, girls.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We also saw last night that Grace was being a little bit more open and honest. Apparently, there's no spark between her and Blade, and she's done with that situation.
I mean, she had to bring someone back because she was in a friendship couple.
Yeah.
So she couldn't let that opportunity go to waste.
Yeah.
Now, we all thought that Moziah was more her type, and obviously Moziah told us that she picked Blade because she met him first. It's not a first come, first serve.
Yeah. I don't know if in that situation, maybe Grace was just trying to be safe. I feel like with her and Moziah, it was a lot of sexual chemistry. Yeah. And I feel like when you're going into Casa Amor, and then one of the top things you have with someone in Casa Amor is sexual chemistry, you kind of don't want it to just be focused on that. And I feel like she maybe saw Blade and thought, this is kind of giving me more like serious relationship vibes. Maybe I should be a bit more like,
So maybe she'd gone for the spark with Joey, and it hadn't worked out, so maybe she tried to go for something else. But
again, the whole kind of maybe like going outside your type kind of vibe.
I haven't really seen her and Blade have many like animated chats. I'm sure he's a lovely
she's
boy.
not interested in him. I personally feel like I actually watched her get the ick in Casa Amor.
Yeah.
Same.
Especially when he came over and interrupted her conversation.
So that's why I feel like she brought Blade back as kind of a statement to be like, he'll never be you, Joey. You know what I mean? Like this, he's built like a brick.
Moziah.
Yeah. Blade gives more of a wow factor when he walks in.
He looks like he's chiseled by gods, this man, right?
Yeah.
All the Casa guys look like gorgeous in their own way. But I feel like Grace might have liked how direct Blade was. Do you remember when he walked over and grabbed from the chat of Moziah?
Yeah.
I mean, if I was Grace, I would have gone, there we go. Do you know what I mean? I'm having Blade because he was quite assertive.
But I feel like she probably saw that in that moment and thought, okay, so he's got a bit of spunk, so he might scare Joey.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I mean?
Because I still feel, as much as she doesn't want to say it on there, I still feel like there is this undercurrent of her just trying to get back at Joey in some way.
Oh, yeah. She wants to have the last word. Every argument they have, like it finishes, and then Grace is like, add another thing. I got one more thing to say to you.
And to befriend Jessie as well. I just feel like at the end, there's got to be this master plan where she's like, ha 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 ha.
Now, Joey did tell Blade, I always knew that your feelings don't reciprocate. Yeah, of course you did, Joey. Of course you did. Did he need to get involved?
Absolutely not. No. But I do feel like, it was a little dig made because there's that rivalry there.
Yeah. Agreed.
Especially during the film festival, we've got Blade calling him, not the brightest bunch of the group. Absolutely. And I feel like that hit Joey's ego where it hurts. And I feel like since then, he's going to have it out for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It is also, I've been with Grace, so I know what she likes. Yeah. Like, I know there was no sexual chemistry. I know what she likes. It's not you.
Yeah. Joey did say you don't get to where I am by being stupid.
I mean, is he the brightest?
He's so clever. He won a TV quiz show once and he did really well on it and everyone was like, oh my God. It's a thing which, and I'll admit I used to do it in my younger years. If you go in being the big I am, being I know this, I know that, I know this, and then you get something wrong, everyone's like, ha ha, you got it wrong. Whereas if you go in very unassuming, then every time you say something quite clever, people are like, oh wow, you're really clever.
I do agree, but I do think that if you have built your name in reality TV as a ditzy guy, and then you get angry at someone's assumption that you aren't that clever, what are we all meant to do? Do you know what I mean? Like, I grew up, as you both probably did, seeing him.
Yeah, Blade clearly hasn't watched Educating Joey Essex.
And do you know what, honey? Neither have I. So I'm with Blade.
I think you need to check it out. It's a great show.
I just think that of all of the hills for that man to die on in the villa, that was not the one for me personally.
People are saying he's stupid, and that has been like the narrative for the last 15 years that Joey Essex is stupid, and we're all guilty of being called as influencers, as reality stars, vacuous, stupid, etc. But people like Katie Price, people say Katie Price is thick, she's stupid. Now, as you know, I am the world's largest Katie Price fan.
I'll follow you on that one.
Like, she has been in the tabloids every week for 30 years. She is a very shrewd, very clever businesswoman.
That is just, imagine having that
And the people in the industry who, like you say, build their brand on being ditzy, on being silly, but they are the most cutthroat, intelligent business people ever.
And that's her public perception built by tabloids and other people's opinions. The same route that happened with Joey.
Joey's very lucky, I think, this year the islanders have been a bit older. It's been sort of mid-20s. When I was in there, me and Anna were the oldest girls, 26 and 29. Everyone else, there was a lot of like 19, 20, 21.
I didn't realise everyone was young on your season.
If he'd been in a villa full of 19 and 20-year-olds, I think a lot of them wouldn't know who he was because Towie would have been before their time.
True, they'd know him from Dance on Ice.
Yeah.
Mimii, Jess and Uma. It was a lovely bombshell date.
It was.
You know what? It was nice to see. I feel like we've been watching a lot of, struggle these past couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Mimi's been down. Uma's been down. Jessie's doesn't really know what she's doing. So to see them have that date, it was nice. It wasn't your ideal date.
No.
I felt like it felt a bit like an interview.
I felt it was a bit like, in Gavin and Stacey in the first episode, when Stacey brings Nessa and Gavin brings Smithy because they're too scared to go on their own.
Yeah.
I felt like it was Mimii and Josh were on a date together and it was like, I'm going to bring some friends. Is that okay? And like that your friends can all talk.
Yeah.
And like, when like the girls have bought 2 friends, but Josh only bought 1 mate and they're like, where's your other mate? The numbers are now odd. But I feel like of all the dates we've seen this series, I feel like it was the most laid back and the most sort of ease of speaking.
Agreed.
And because there wasn't the stressfulness of sitting opposite someone and having to be like, what do you like to do?
It was an open conversation.
So.
It was an open conversation. It was like a group setting. And I think that would be really good for a lot more dates in the series.
Yeah.
I feel like in the nice way, it's also like takes off the pressure. So you also don't feel pressure to talk to that one
and
person.
Feel a silence in it.
Yeah, and just because you've had a date with them. I feel like, I agree. When it's like an open conversation, you might catch eyes with that person. It's like, now I don't feel pressure to talk to you two because you're here.
Look, it was giving TED Talk, really.
It was.
The whole bilingual thing as well gave me the ick. If that was the instant chat with me, I would have been like, well, That was fun.
You can tell he did that just to try and look cool.
Yeah.
And then she asked him, are you fluent in Spanish? He's like, no.
I know. See, that was the bit that caught him out. I thought,
See, I like a man that can speak another language, you know.
okay.
When I was cabin crew, people used to, when we were standing at the door and like boarding, so we're doing a Nice flight, like crew that was going to be like, bonjour, bonjour. Be like, hi, you're right, hi, hello, hello.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, why didn't you say bonjour? It's a French flight. And then someone inevitably would come on and they'd go, bonjour, and the person would start just shouting at them in like fluent French. And they'd be like, I only know bonjour, I know bonjour.
Yeah, but Uma's not Spanish.
I'm like, that's why you never, because you know your select phrases.
Yeah.
What do you do if they start then going off piece?
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? It was a dangerous game.
It's a dangerous game.
He played it off quite well.
It does his 10 minutes when it's up every day.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
He had a few
exactly.
good words though. Like I was actually bleeding for a while and then you saw him towards the end of it like run out of lines.
I think I would have just pretended and said yes.
Yeah.
Fake it till you make it. That's what you need to do, Reuben.
All you need to learn in any language is please and thank you and then a point.
Yeah.
Like, por favor.
Uma,
Gracias.
please.
Yeah.
I want you. Thank you. That's what you should have done.
So we have Matilda. She actually said these dates are naughty business. We saw the two boys. There was Reuben and there was Josh. Now, out of maybe just like predictions, do we feel like we know who they're going to go for?
I think Josh will go for Mimii because again, like she's a lovely, lovely girl. She deserves to be treated really well. And also, he's a footballer. It's an open goal.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
And do you know
Older.
what?
Older.
Yeah.
And he kind of...
He's 29.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a
29.
good thing. I think Mimii needs someone who can fight for her in that villa as well because she's really missed that.
He's obviously seen her whole journey.
Yes.
So it's like a beautiful, like paint by numbers thing where he can go in and be like, I'd never put you in a triangle.
It's quite easy
I'd
for
never
him
do this
too.
to you.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
never do this to you.
He's done his bombshell coursework.
Yeah, he can literally do the opposite of what Io's done. There's only 3 weeks left.
It's a short time, but
it's still long.
do we think there's room for this to grow?
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
I think it's sweet. We also had Reuben. He showed quite an interest in Uma. He said, you know where I'm from, I know how to treat a woman. And he said that he's happy to educate Will and she can sit beside him and watch.
Bold statement.
Very bold.
Very bold. I think Reuben's coming in very strong, which a lot of the bombshells do. I don't know whether he's got the weight behind him to carry it because he keeps saying like, these are boys, I'm a man. With all due respect, like you are 23.
Yeah. He's going to say that to Blade. When Blade
Do you know what? Do you know what I mean? Like, couple years out of uni, first job in the city, you're obviously going to go ham in Love Island. I get it. I just think he did come in very big and bold. And I just think Uma might wake up tomorrow, sit on what he said and go, I don't know whether the grass is greener. Personally.
But he's seen Connor go in and be the most unassuming bombshell in Love Island history.
Yeah.
He's literally like, you will have a nice holiday. So he's like, I've got to make this work because time is running out. Again,
course.
we're
Yeah,
past
he's
the
got to.
halfway point now. Like every minute counts.
Yeah.
Well, guys, on that note, it's been a fantastic morning. Amy and Joe, thanks for joining us. And also a huge shout out to the Casa Boys, aka the Casa-morians. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow with Amy and Joe.
Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and share with all your Love Island loving mates so you can talk about this too. Thank you so much for all your comments. We read them all and we love you all. See you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.